Okay, we're going to read it. Thank you. You ready, Gina? Are you all ready? We're going to do the beer board agenda meeting first. You gonna come up and talk on this? Yeah, just be ready. Start thinking about what you're gonna say. Yeah. No, no. We'll split his check. And you. Probably some exotic country somewhere. Working hard. You ready? Beer board meeting, call to order, please.
Councilman Gann.
Here.
Councilman McBride. Councilman Harrell.
Here.
Councilman Stamey.
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker.
Here.
Councilman Fair. Mayor Burton.
Here. Do I hear a motion for the review and the approval of minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Under new business, we have a request from Anderson County Chamber of Commerce for a Class E on the premise special event beer permit located at 245 North Main Street in Clinton, Tennessee. Mr. Meredith, would you like to approach the council and kind of give us the highlights of this event?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is the Tribute to Business dinner that we do annually. We have decided to move it to Market Street and have a long table dinner. So this permit is for the beer for that. Entertainment, putting on the Ritz, and it'll be a 1920s theme. So I expect all the mayor and council to be in 20s attire. I think you all will look great in that. And Mayor, you can keynote the event if you would like.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I've already got the history.
Is it going to be in the park?
No, it's going to be right down the street.
So we're going to close the street.
Yes, sir.
Now, any of you vendors or owners down there, you could, Rick Meredith, R-I-C-K on that. All right,
We have already met with them.
all right.
They're very
Okay.
excited about
So
it.
are you going to do anything for the May festival?
No, sir, that's the Antique Guild.
Okay,
We'll do it.
All right.
We'll do ours in October.
okay. Do you hear a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion?
Rick, how did the first episode go with the permit? You had a,
Oh, the beer garden for the festival, it went great.
Did
It
it?
was really, really well attended. We learned a few lessons. Need to have a little bigger spot. That's kind of why we're trying to do the whole street. It's a little crowded when you only do it 30 by 30, but it went over very well.
good, very good.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Appreciate it. No, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Hear a motion to adjourn the beer board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Beer board meeting is adjourned. Regular meeting called to order. Roll call.
Councilman Gann.
Here.
Councilman McBride. Councilman Harrell.
Here.
Councilman Stamey.
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker.
Here.
Councilman Fair. Mayor Burton.
Here. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The prayer this evening will be given by Councilman Gann. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Our Father, we thank Thee for the opportunity to come together to discuss the business of the city, to seek to do the best that we can for our community. We thank Thee especially for this season of the year, for what it means in each of our lives and each of our families' lives. Be with us in all that we do, for the business we transact, that we may keep the interest of the city of Clinton top foremost in our mind, and that we may always seek to do Thy will in all that we do. For it's in Thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Larry. Do you hear a motion for the review and the approval of minutes of the previous meeting dated March 25th, 2019?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. At this time, we'll recognize any visitor or citizen that would have a grievance or a praise for the city. Yes. Good, Jerry. Please state your name and address, please.
I'm Jerry Shattuck, 322 Edgewood Circle here in Clinton. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Back in late 2005 and 2006 and 7, I was involved with the Mayor's Commission on Clinton's 21st Century. And during that period of time, the Clinton City Council was instrumental with heavy support. The Green McAdoo Cultural Center, the Riverwalk, the football stadium improvements, and the clearing and landscaping of the grounds around the stadium. Then 2008, of course, the recession hit, and we sort of died on the vine. But I think Mr. Stamey will recall one of the most far-flung ideas we had, which in a sense also met with the most enthusiasm, was the idea of a pedestrian bridge across the Clinch River there where Magnet Mills is located or was located. As you know, the piers from the old 19-teens bridge are still there in place. And this undertaking had been looked at earlier in regard to the possibilities of a grant and so forth, but obviously it is expensive, and those efforts were unsuccessful. But here recently, of course, we have the state building the new Highway 25W bridge. And in perusing the budget for that bridge, I noticed that there was an item in there for $805,000, and that was mobilization. In checking further, I found out the majority of that $805,000 was mobilizing the barges and the cranes, bringing them up the river to do the work that's necessary to erect that bridge. And I thought to myself, if we're ever going to pursue this idea of a pedestrian bridge, now may be the time to look into it. And it's for that reason that I came to council tonight to try to see if you would be interested in taking another look at the possibility of a pedestrian bridge. I've done a little bit of preliminary research, and I'm not going to state my life on the accuracy of my figures, but there are 3 spans required. The span from the shore pier to the first mid-water pier is 150 feet. From the mid-river pier to the other mid-river pier is 250. And the other pier on the other side is the same length as the first one. Those 2 piers cost around $210,000 each for the short piers, and around $380,000 for the longer pier, for a total of around $800,000. Those are prefabricated bridges. In looking at other costs, it appears that, and again, I'm not going to stake my life on these figures, but it appears that the bridge could probably be put in place for somewhere around $1.5 million. Now, that's subject to a lot of ifs. Obviously, we can defray a great deal of that mobilization expense that I mentioned earlier if we can utilize the barges and the cranes that Blaylock has on site already. And they're going to be on site, I presume, for another 2.5 years. So we have some time to look into it, and I would heartily suggest that the council consider it and consider means by which we can try to raise money through volunteer efforts, through city contributions and so forth, to see that this might happen. It obviously would fit in very harmoniously with the city's plans to develop a passive park on the 16 acres across the river from the Magnet Mill site. It would be a logical extension of the Riverwalk. And the whole idea, and I'm sure E.T. can remember how enthusiastically it was received, but obviously running into the cost figures made it much more prohibitive than we could pursue at that time. The only other thing, we did take some preliminary views of the situation back in '06 when it was looked at. The clearances, the horizontal clearances between the 2 piers are adequate to meet Corps of Engineer standards. The height of those piers is adequate also. We're in the process of trying to verify that last fact, that the height clearance is still ample. But I'm told when you have existing piers of that nature, you ordinarily don't have any problem. The other problem is the condition of the piers. Obviously, that bridge, the original bridge, was built there in the 19-teens, and I don't know the exact date. And it served until 1941, when they opened, the state built, and we opened the Green Bridge that all of us have enjoyed since 1940, or I guess I should say some of us at least. So those old concrete piers on the early 20th century bridge obviously need to be checked. They have been looked at and perused just from a preliminary perusal, and they look intact. But to be certain, you have to conduct x-ray tests on them. And I'm in the process of trying to get an estimate on what those x-ray tests will cost. And getting that information is not going to cost me or the city council or anybody else anything at this point. But I just wanted to bring these matters to your attention to see if there is any interest. I'd be happy to respond to any questions or comments. Don't throw me out.
Mr. Shattuck, how would the height of that bridge compare to the height of the new bridge that's being constructed?
I don't know. I'm told it is adequate, and I'm also told that it is actually higher than the existing railroad bridge on upriver from where the original bridge was.
Because I'd heard that might be a consideration, the height.
Yes, that is. You have to meet minimum clearances. We think we've met them, but we're trying to get that verified.
Mr. Shattuck, the historian you are,
I'm just old.
why do they keep the pylons like they are today? Why, back when, I guess when they took the bridge down, why didn't they come down to it at the same time?
I don't know. But no, there's been no attempt that I'm aware of to remove them. I can remember as a boy walking across that thing when it was,
Right.
in total disrepair. And then somewhere, I don't know exactly when, later on, the structure was gone. And nothing's happened with the piers or the pylons since that time.
Well, I took a trip this weekend to Corbin, Kentucky, and they have got almost the identical situation. It's a smaller bridge. It's not as far across the lake. But there was a lot of people. It was a nice day, and there's a lot of people walking, taking pictures, so forth and so on. So I can see the value of it, just the height, like Mr. Gann brought up, and probably the cost, once again. But it was very attractive in Corbin, the way they'd done theirs.
Well, it's definitely an amenity. There's no
Yep.
question about that. It's not a necessity, but it is an amenity which would fit very well with the city's plans in regard to the park. And it would also be harmonious with the future development of the Magnet Mills site.
Yep.
And in another sense, that's a negative. I hate to enhance the value of that Magnet Mills site for the present owner, given his lack of cooperation with this council. However, that's,
Thank you, Jerry.
thank you very much.
State your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Burnett. I'm with ASAP of Anderson. We're the anti-drug coalition for the whole county. Just a couple of announcements for you all today about what we've been working on. We have our DEA Drug Take Back Day on April 27th, so this Saturday coming up. Clinton Police Department is participating, so they'll be out front collecting disposed meds, any expired or unused medications that the community wants to dispose of. And then that disposal bin, the permanent one, is also still at the police department if you can't make it on Saturday. So that's from 10 to 2 on this coming Saturday, April 27th. And then on May 4th, and we're really targeting this for the entire county, even though it's in Oak Ridge, we're doing a tobacco-free movie night, basically trying to raise awareness about tobacco-free parks. There's an ordinance or a thing going through the legislature right now that we're hoping will pass to allow local control of making parks tobacco-free or not. So we're raising awareness about that. It's on May 4th. It's a movie night because it's May 4th. They're calling it May the 4th be with you, and it's a It's a Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens. So activities and stuff at AK Bissell Park, that's where it's going to be located. Start around 7. Movie will start at dark, probably about 8:40 or so. But they're offering free popcorn and drinks and candy for the movie. A lot of activities for kids. Hoping it's going to be a nice weather day. So, and all of that information is on our asapofanderson.org website or our Facebook page as well. Also wanted to talk totally different from ASAP. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Young Professionals of Anderson County. It's under the Anderson County Chamber of Commerce. We're just trying to recruit members. It's $25 per person annually. It gets you access to all the different events that we've been doing. One of the bigger pulls for being a part of the organization, we've been doing speaker forums bi-monthly. We had the Voice of Neyland Stadium at our last one. We have Tim Burchett at this one coming up tomorrow, and that's exclusive for the young professionals that sign up. And then in case any of you think that you don't qualify for the young professionals, if you happen to be over 40, I don't know if you are. But if you are, then we also have a mentor program that we're really trying to get off the ground. Basically, if you're willing to mentor a young professional that may be looking to grow or learn more about the field that you happen to be in. So wanted to let you all know about that. And then finally, you're going to be seeing a lot less of me, a lot more of Joe Simaluka, if you'll stand up so they can see you. She's also with ASAP. She's been interning with us, and she's going to come on for more part-time. So you're going to see a lot more of her. I just wanted you all to see her face.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Jennifer?
All right.
Thank you
Thank
for all you
you.
do. Anyone else? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Communications from the mayor. I have a couple of things. First of all, the Spring Antique Festival Fair is going to be May the 4th. This is going to be the 15th Antique Fair, spring. It seemed like yesterday we just started this. But festivities start on Friday the 3rd. There'll be food vendors and musical entertainment in the Hoskins Lane Park for a kickoff party. Musical entertainment will be provided by Wild Blue Yonder. It's a popular bluegrass musical group. And the antique and specialty shops will be open late that night on Friday. On Saturday, Friday will go from 6 to 9. Saturday goes from 9 to 5. That includes Market Street, Cullen Street, and the alleyway beside Memorial Methodist Church. We will be lined with vendors starting at 9 a.m. And the ROTC will be present. Will present their color guard with Jason Deal from JD Auctions. He'll be the master of ceremonies to kick things off. There'll again be a variety of food vendors in the Hoskins Lane Park for the duration of the event, which will end at 5. And this event is presented by the Antique Merchants Guild of Clinton and sponsored by the City of Clinton and the Community Bank. So if you have nothing to do on the 3rd and 4th, please come down to Market Street. The event we had just 2 weeks ago, I guess. What was it called? The Blooms Day. It was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. It was a much younger crowd because it was more around, had a lot of Easter-themed things going on, the Easter hunt and pie eating contest and things like that. But we had a real good time. I think that's only going to grow from here, and I appreciate whoever is involved. Appreciate what you all do. Really do. Thank you. Secondly, I asked Councilman Gann to read a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Larry, if you don't mind, you might go into the podium. The two ladies in front or here also in that regard.
You ladies want to come on up?
Is it okay with you if, while you read that, if Kathy passes a pinwheel to each one of the,
Certainly.
and the pinwheel,
I
I'll tell
talk-
you what it represents in a moment.
I taught 38 years, you're not going to distract me. Whereas Tennessee's future prosperity depends on nurturing the healthy development of over 4 million children currently living, growing, and learning within our many diverse communities. And whereas whereas research shows that safe and nurturing relationships and stimulating and stable environments improve brain development and child well-being, while neglectful or abusive experiences in unstable or stressful environments increase the odds of poor childhood outcomes. And whereas the abuse and neglect of children can cause severe, costly, and lifelong problems affecting all of society, including physical and mental health problems, school failure, and criminal behavior. And whereas research shows that parents and caregivers who have social networks and know how to seek help in times of trouble are more resilient and better able to provide safe environments and nurturing experiences for their children. And whereas individuals, businesses, schools, and faith-based and community organizations must make children a top priority and take action to support the physical, social, emotional, and educational development and competency of all children. And whereas the month of April, Prevent Child Abuse Tennessee, along with the Tennessee Children's Trust Fund and child abuse prevention partners across Tennessee, will be engaging in communities throughout Tennessee in a coordinated effort to prevent child abuse and neglect by promoting awareness of healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and the types of concrete support families need within their communities. And now, therefore, the Mayor and Clinton City Council do hereby proclaim April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Clinton, Tennessee, joining the state and other cities in promoting this worthy observance. Proclamation adopted 22nd day of April 2019.
Speaking to the microphone, please. Thanks, Larry.
Hello, my name is Allison Wentz, and I'm the Regional Program Manager for Prevent Child Abuse Tennessee. And we appreciate you sharing this proclamation this evening because it gives us an opportunity to emphasize the importance of each individual and what we can do for children and families in the community. As Mr. Gann read, every individual, every business, every faith-based community has a role to play in making sure that children have good childhoods and good futures. And I just wanted to mention the pinwheel that you all received is a symbol of the fact that every child deserves to have a great childhood. And we hope that that's a reminder to you of the fact that you can play a part in that. You may notice the tag on the stem of the pinwheel, and it talks about acknowledging someone who has done something positive for a child. So I would encourage you to think about someone who made a difference in your childhood or in the life of a child that you know and love. And you can perhaps share that pinwheel with them and let them know that they are making a positive difference. So thank you so much for letting us be here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under committee reports, Clinton City School Board report, Kelly Johnson.
Good evening. Just a few updates with regards to Clinton City Schools. It's hard to believe, but we are entering our last month of the 2018-19 school year. And so things are happening fast and furious for us. Wanted to go ahead and get this date on your calendar that our sixth grade graduation will be held on May the 23rd at 9 o'clock at the Ritz. And so we look forward to graduating another wonderful group of sixth graders from Clinton City Schools. T and Ready testing actually kicks off tomorrow. We did do the writing assessment portion of the test last week. And so all the other core subjects will kick off tomorrow, and we'll be testing through Friday during the morning hours. And so we're really looking forward to giving the children the opportunity to show off what they've learned this year and their hard work. And so that's happening in all three schools. And one other thing that I wanted to let you know, a project that we've been working on for about a year now, but if you recall, last year Governor Haslam, before he went out of office, he did a one-time funding for school safety in conjunction with our annual Safe Schools grant that we receive. And that grant was funded based on a per pupil expenditure. And so we combined the reoccurring Safe Schools grant with the one-time Safe Schools funding, and then put some GP funds with it to totally redo our security system in each one of the three schools. And And so that has now been installed. It is called Avigilon Analytic Video Surveillance Cameras. And so they are HD cameras, and we actually trained the police department on that today, and it is certainly impressive. And so we were able to cover more of our campus, and so we have cameras both on the exterior and inside. In some of the larger areas, like in the cafeteria, they call it a fisheye camera, but it gives you a 360 view of everything that is happening, and it is HD, so you can really hone in and really determine facial features. You can see it's pretty scary how accurate these cameras are. But it also gives us the ability, it will give the police department the ability to have access to all of our cameras at their department. It will give SROs the ability to have access to the cameras on their cell phones. And so a couple of really neat features of this is that we can do a search. And so when we were going through the training, let's say that a backpack was discovered to be missing, but we see the backpack sitting on the bleachers in the gym. This gives us the capacity through some different search features where we can hone in exactly when that backpack no longer was there. And it also has an appearance feature where if a parent comes in the door and doesn't go through the front office to sign in, and we need to locate that parent, we can screenshot what that parent looks like, and then it will take the clothes and some of the appearance items, and it will locate them on all of the other cameras where we can determine where they are in the building. And so it comes with some really, really neat features, but just with technology, it has allowed us the opportunity now to where we obviously will be looking at security, but it really increases the collaboration that we are able to have with our SROs and with our Clinton Police Department. So we are extremely excited that is up and running. And other than that, we're just going to try to survive the next 4 weeks. It's fast and furious. We got 6th grade camp. We've got lots and lots of fun activities going on to wrap up the school year. So any questions for me?
What's going on with the Blaze? What sport are we in right now? Bowling? Is bowling over with?
We got bowling,
Oh, bowling's-
soccer, and,
Cross country?
track.
Yeah.
Bowling's still going strong. We have about 32 people bowl. And I'll tell you what, if you want to see something awesome, you come to the community center on Wednesday. Our last day is May the 1st, and we're going to do a teacher-student bowl. And so they're going to compete with some teachers, and that's going to be lots of fun. But we have had kids from all 3 schools participate in the bowling, and to see how respectful they are and how well they interact and cheer each other on. And we have some fantastic bowlers. And so we have a lot of kids that the parents are spending their weekends at the bowling alleys now because they want to perfect their craft. But that has been fabulous. Track, we have about 45 students that are participating in track. And Clinton High School has been a fabulous partner to us. And actually, they hosted an official track meet for our kids last week. And it was just a wonderful opportunity where the high school kids were working with our kids, but they actually participated in the events and got placed, and it was just, the Blaze has really opened up a whole new avenue of well-rounded activities for our kids, and we're seeing kids get involved in stuff that I don't think they otherwise would have had the opportunity to be exposed to.
The Tennessee Ready, so all that's going to be done on paper this year, correct?
It is all done on paper for us, with the exception of the science this year is going to be a field test, and it will be done online. But Governor Lee has made the proposal that everyone go to all paper pencil for next year, which really doesn't affect us as much because we tried to stay on the paper pencil knowing what a nightmare it had all been in other systems. We have made the choice to stay paper pencil and let other districts work out the kinks. It would really affect high school and middle school the most. But lots of directors are very sad and moving in that direction just because we need to stick with it and get it right. We don't need to go backwards, but we'll see.
Any other questions for Kelly? Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks.
Budget amendment number 2.
Your board package, you should have the budget amendment number 2, and it only affects the federal projects fund. I'd be happy to, it's a new grant this year, and I'd be happy to address any questions.
You want to kind of talk about it a little bit?
I can. It's well, it's a Title I student support and academic enrichment, and it's the total grant is $29,980. Specifics, Kelly would be better to talk about where.
That we wrote with the State Department, through the State Department. It was a competitive grant, and we wrote it and we formalized a partnership with ORAU. And so we're using this money to implement STEM camps in the summer and additional STEM opportunities for students during the school year.
Great, thank you. So do I hear approval for budget amendment number 2?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann?
Yes.
Councilman McBride? Councilman Harrell?
Yes.
Councilman Stamey?
Yes.
Councilman Hatmaker?
Yes.
Councilman Fair and Mayor Burton.
Yes, budget amendment number 2 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Scott? When's the due date?
June 2,
June 2.
D-Day.
That clock's got going 1 forward, 2 back, 1 forward, 2 back.
I'm scared or
Yeah.
excited, depending
Yeah, I
on when you
know.
ask me.
I
Thank
know.
you.
Well, thank you. Clinton Regional Planning Commission report, Councilman Gann.
The Clinton Regional Planning Commission met on April 8th, 2019. Deferred business, Alex McGrew and DeJuan Brewer are requesting rezoning from B1, or excuse me, from the Historical District to B1 for their properties located on Cullum Street. This matter was deferred pending hearing by the Historical Zoning Commission. So we did not act on that. Applicant JB Investment Company actually had 2 involving properties located on Seavers Boulevard, parcels 20, 21, 22, 23. This is across the street from Percadeli's. This was the final plat agreement contingent upon corrections, and that was approved. And those were the items handled by the Planning Commission. Any question on that before I move on?
One question I had on the historic zoning, and this might be more for the historic zoning, but I think we kind of just overlooked some places that needed to be part of that. Number one, I think the depot needs to be, maybe
Well-
everything up to the railroad tracks.
That was
would
part
be-
of it, you know, that kind of opens the door for them to evaluate, okay, where are the lines going to be and where they're not going to be, because you have inconsistencies on each side of Market Street. You know, on one side, it's not in the historical district, on the other side, it is in the historical district, so that kind of gives them the opportunity to deal with that before we look at it.
Well, I think, I don't know, I don't know what the pros and cons are, or what the pros would be to opt out of that, but, I mean, we're trying to do something there that I think sometimes people think we're going to ask them to do something that they don't want to do, and I don't know what that would be.
Their concerns, as they have expressed it, is that obviously one of them is a surveying business and such, and they're not sure that they want to deal with a historical type of look to their buildings. And, you know, I can appreciate that, but at the same time, if you're in the historical district,
Yeah, it's not necessarily the business you're in, it's the building you're in,
Right.
and the area you're in. But I don't know either. I feel strongly that all businesses on Market Street up to the railroad track needs to be in that district. I don't know if the Cullum on either side, I don't know if Apple Blossom needs to be on the historical district, but I do feel strongly with the Market Street need to be
Oh,
there.
certainly.
And I think
you know,
we
we-
missed some buildings there that needed to be in there.
I think we were all surprised when we found out the depot was not in it.
Yeah, me too. Because I think a lot of this stuff started around the depot.
Right, that was one of
Back
the
in the
reasons
day.
it was originally done.
So, I'm sorry, any other questions?
All right, and then the Board of Zoning Appeals also met the same night. Applicant Clinch Valley CrossFit requesting rear signage to 99.16 square feet for the property located at 378 Market Street. This is basically a replacement of the previous existing sign with one that advertises their business, and that was approved. Applicant Teresa Clark requesting proposed driveway width 34 feet for property located at 128 Mountain Meadow Lane. This driveway addition was needed to avoid having parking on the street, and that was approved. Applicant Sean Smith requesting right side setback to 6 inches and maximum square foot allowed for accessory structure to 1,344 square feet for property located at 127 David Road. The property is zoned R1. There is a fairly significant amount of property to his next door neighbor, and in fact, he also has a quite large garage structure, so that was also approved. And then applicant JMB Investment Company asking, actually two there, asking parking variances for the property, once again located across Severs Boulevard from Perkadeli's. And considering the types of business that are planned to go in there, it was thought that their proposal of parking spaces, which you see there in the minutes, was adequate for those buildings. I don't think I'm sharing any secrets. One of those is to be a Dollar General store, and one is to be an automotive supply. And both of those were considered adequate in parking, so that variance was granted. Any questions
for Councilman Gann?
So, Mr. Gann, is part of this going to be where the White House was torn down about a year ago? Is that part of the construction area?
Yes, I think it's,
And then onto the asphalt area?
It's
too?
on to where Scott Brown, the Brown
Right.
house is too, and the house behind that one.
there's a third building there, I think, that's not yet been decided what it will be.
Yeah.
I got
Doesn't
you.
mean-
Part of the shopping center.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently, it's automotive supply and Dollar General, and then a third one. And
They s-
and it will be, there will be a contingent driveway connection off Severs Boulevard
Right.
that
They,
connects all three buildings, and on the side for parking also.
Good.
Did they say when they plan on breaking ground?
As soon as possible. That, in fact, as you see there, they ran their stuff through. They're wanting to get started on it.
I saw a lot of, so like, somebody was always on that property doing something, the measuring and,
In particular, I think the automotive supply people want to get there before the bridge construction gets too far along.
how about the new hotel? Is
We
there-
did, I think I skipped that there. We did approve, there were some changes in their plat review. It's the Fairfield Inn up at, across from Harrison's. And that was approved, subject to signatures and such, but that is moving forward also.
They
That-
give a specific date on that?
But again, I think they're wanting to get that done quickly.
Good, good. Any other questions for Councilman Gann? Thanks, Larry. We'll skip the Clinton Utilities Board report. You have anything under other?
Not as present, no.
Under the city manager's report, Roger Hauk had an emergency he had to attend to, was not able to attend the meeting. So there's a couple of things here that I'd like to mention and have voted on. Under general information, the Memorial Day holiday, city offices and departments will be closed Monday, May 27th in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. Under projects and activities, we need to look at a new date for the May City Council meeting due to the Memorial Day holiday. Roger's recommending that we either reschedule for the May 20th, which is the week before, or the Tuesday after, which is May 28th.
Either one.
I think, personally, I think it'd be easier to just keep it on a Monday.
I have no problem with
If you
either.
have any conflict on that.
20th?
On the 20th. Is that all right with you?
I mean, I'm out of town. It doesn't matter though.
You gonna miss either one, both of them?
No, I'll miss the 20th. I'm in Louisiana.
What, can you make the 28th?
But if you want to keep it on.
No, I
You'll
thought
make
it'd be easier,
28th,
but
it'll be
if you can do the
Tuesday.
28th, that's fine. Make a motion to move the meeting.
We,
Here, a motion to move the regularly scheduled May meeting to Tuesday, May 28th at 5:30 PM.
so moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Gail, do you have present your financial report?
I added the sales tax report for you this morning. Unfortunately, now with the state of Tennessee, we don't get sales tax numbers until about the 20th. So the sales tax is not recorded in your financial statements, which I normally try to do so that we're only a month behind. So that's not included in your March statements. The city this month was up almost 12%, so we had another good month with sales tax. Year-to-date, we're at a little over 6%. Don't have the county numbers yet. Hopefully, we'll get those tomorrow. So we'll update it for the next month. So if you look at our revenues, if you add that sales tax in that I normally include, it would raise us to about 71%. So our revenues are looking really good considering that for state shared and for local sales tax, we still run a month behind. So looking really good on that percentage. Our taxes collected as of today, or actually yesterday, Friday, as of the aggregate, is a little over 95%. So our taxes have picked up this last month and have come in very good for this year. Our state shared revenues this year, all of them, if you look at them based on, they're on an 8 month right now. So we're at well above the percentage of what it would be. So our state shared has come in very good this year too. State shared sales tax has been up, as well as, of course, the gas tax with the change has been up as well. And all of our expenditures are well within budget, so we're looking good on both horizons there.
Good. Any questions for Gail? So the 95% collected, is that pretty much on par where we've been in the years past?
Usually, we collect anywhere from 95, 96, sometimes a little higher than that, just depends.
When are you going to release Gina and get after them? Is she already on it?
She stays
Get
on.
on it? Good. I want her to get on me. Okay.
Well, the good thing is she tries to keep it from going across the street, because once it goes across the street, those penalties really jump. So it's kind of a benefit to the taxpayer that it doesn't go across the street.
Good.
Last meeting, there's a question about some delinquent taxes going through Phil's office. We were going to get an update on that, I thought.
I still don't really know anything. I'll see if I can get a listing. We've not heard anything from him. Most of those, I know he sent out a letter, as I mentioned last month, but I really don't know where else he went with it. So I'll see if I can find out
Thank you.
anything.
Before we move on to, thank you, Gail. Before we move on to Public Works and get a couple of pieces of equipment, Dwayne, do you mind giving us an update on Eagle Bend and just tell them where we're at and where we're going and how long it's going to take and all that good stuff? If you don't mind, make sure you use the microphone there.
We started clearing the trees and underbrush Tuesday morning after the last council meeting. We've got, I'd say 95% of that cleared off, and there's a lot of it. Started hauling some dirt and rock last week. Short week with the holiday, but we're up there today hauling. They're up there now hauling, so. As far as an estimate, if everything goes good, as far as moving the dirt, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks probably. There's a lot to move. You never know what you're gonna run into.
You hit much rock yet?
There's one spot where there's rock, and we knew there was. So far, the track hoe's digging it out. That could change the deeper you get. So far, it's looking all right. That's about it as far as moving the dirt goes. Then you've got, culverts to install.
So are y'all going to be able to do everything for the most part except for the paving?
Yeah, we should be able to take care of all of it.
That's great.
Other than that.
Good. So I won't put you down for June 1st. It's going to be open, right? All right.
No.
State your name clearly.
JB.
There you go. He's used to it. Great. Hey, tell everybody, appreciate their work. I know it's a big project. It's probably something they, in a weird way, they enjoy doing it because it's something that they're trained to do and don't get to do it a lot, thankfully. But I know y'all doing a good job, and I appreciate that.
Now, it's my understanding that we're moving the road back from the water about, 15, 20 feet? Correct. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But those people will be happy about that, too.
Well, again, I think what Roger was talking about, for years and years, we just put a Band-Aid approach on
Right.
it, and we're able to fix it this time, hopefully for good. And the land that we're cutting into is our land anyway. So I think it's working out well for us.
Great.
It worked out about as good as you could ask for.
Good. I appreciate that update.
For a catastrophe.
Yeah. Thank you. So under Public Works Department, for a compact excavator purchase, the Public Works Department needs to purchase a compact excavator for use in locations where a regular size excavator or backhoe is impractical. The equipment is available for purchase on a state contract price schedule. We would therefore request authorization to purchase a Bobcat E42T4 compact excavator from Bobcat of Knoxville at a total cost of $54,393.30. This purchase will be funded from the Public Works Department's capital outlay funds. Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? One thing when we go over these two items, I like to remind the public is these are the funds that we have saved for purchases like this. And I'm very proud that we are proactive. So when these things arise, we have money to cover it. So, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Dump truck purchase. The Public Works Department needs to purchase a single axle dump truck to replace an older model truck currently in use. This dump truck is available for purchase on a state contract price schedule. We would therefore request authorization to purchase a 2019 Kenworth dump truck from Worldwide Equipment Incorporated of Knoxville at a total cost of $95,231. This purchase will be funded from the Public Works Department's capital outlay funds. To hear a motion for approval.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Are we going to surplus this, put it on .gov?
Bill,
or just
can you
continue to use it?
can you give us some input on that? What's your thoughts?
At the time that it becomes where we need the surplus one, we will.
The one we have 3 trucks we talked about, 3 dump trucks.
Dwayne can give you an update on that better than I can.
Well, I'll pass it on to Dwayne then.
Yeah. We let Parks and Rec have one of our old ones, which was,
What model was that?
it was an 85, 34 years
Model-
old.
Maybe he wanted me to ask you
Model
that.
Model T.
We still have one that's the same year, 34 years old. Then our other two's 22 years old, and we've got 2 that's fairly new, one 12 years and one 3 years.
So they'll remain in use until, that's fine.
They probably don't have any resale value. We just keep using them until they
we
just,
can't get parts for them,
Right.
That's fine.
we'll surplus them.
if we have any more, we can pass them on to the school system.
There you go.
Y'all like a dump truck? Yeah, no problem. Just being a good neighbor. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That's all we had on the city manager report. Under ordinances and resolutions, first reading of new ordinances, ordinance number 641, amending the mobile food truck vending regulations. Can somebody speak on that? Gail, can you?
Yeah, basically, the ordinance that you all passed last week, we were allowing a mobile food truck to be in a retail site, and not have to pay, and the way we had it worded, it was only including a temporary permit, which we defined as up to a 3-day permit. This would allow that same consideration for an annual permit. So in other words, a food truck could come in, not pay, get an annual permit, but they would be only authorized to be at a retail location. Does that make sense?
So now you just have more flexibility.
Right.
Where
It
they can be
still
located.
limits them to be at that location. So if they're going to be on public property, they would have to pay the fee. So they would either do the 3-day or they would do the annual. But this would limit them where they could be, but they wouldn't have to continually come in and get that permit week after week if they were going to be, say, a couple of times a year at the same place, they could do it.
Okay. Hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Same address would be like, for example, if they were to have an event at Market Street, would Market Street be considered a single? So it would, if they were moving different places, they would have, on Market Street.
Well, remember, though, that it has to be at a retail location on retail property.
Okay.
So Market Street is
It's
public property.
Right, okay.
So that's different. But
Right.
if they wanted to be at, say, Walgreens, and then they wanted to be Ace Hardware, different places that are retail locations, they could do an annual permit and be on retail property
Okay, fine.
on that, and for one permit, one time a year with no cost. But once they get outside of that, they'd have to incur a fee.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann?
Yes.
Councilman McBride? Councilman Harrell?
Yes.
Councilman Stanger?
Yes.
Councilman Hatmaker?
Yes.
Councilman Farah? And Mayor Burton.
Yes. Ordinance number 641 passes on first reading. Any old business before us? Any new business? Hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Please adjourn.